When the zombies take over the cities, do you already know where you're going to run? Imagine total collapse, blocked streets, panicked sirens, chaos consuming everything around. Urban centers become traps. Every corner can hide a hungry, infected person. Now, while most rush to despair, the true survivors seek refuge where no one would think of entering. Abandoned factories, ghost towns forgotten on the map, sanatoriums taken by silence. These are the places that can save your life at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. Places where the noise stops, access is limited, and the dead find it difficult to reach. Today, you will discover 10 abandoned places that would be perfect refuges against the zombie apocalypse. And perhaps, in the midst of this rubble lies your future shelter. Because when the world collapses, only those who know the right places stay alive. And if you want to ensure your survival when the zombie apocalypse begins, the first step is to be well informed. Here, each video is a piece of your escape plan. So subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications, because every week we reveal the most strategic locations before the chaos really begins. And if you're enjoying this topic, leave a like, because this helps this content reach more people who, like you, are thinking about how to survive when the world becomes a nightmare. Now tell me in the comments, if the apocalypse started today, would you hide in a ghost town, an abandoned factory, or a forgotten sanatorium in the middle of the woods? Pripyat, Ukraine. The first place on our list may seem like a post-apocalyptic movie setting, and in fact, it has already been used as such. We are talking about Pripyat, already Ukraine, the most famous ghost town in the world. Completely evacuated after the Chernobyl disaster in 1986, Pripyat was left frozen in time, surrounded by dense forests and a 30-kilometer exclusion zone. The silence here is absolute. Nothing moves. No sounds of cars, no footsteps, no screams, and that's exactly what makes it a perfect refuge in the zombie apocalypse. The city still has dozens of tall buildings, abandoned hospitals, intact schools, and a network of underground tunnels that can be used for discreet travel. Nature took over the concrete, making the environment visually frightening but strategically favorable. Access is limited. There are only a few dirt roads leading to the exclusion zone, and any attempted invasion can be seen from a distance. It's the kind of place few would dare to enter, and exactly for that reason it's where you should be. But there is a bizarre detail that makes everything even more tense. Many reports indicate that some animals in the region, after decades of exposure to radiation, developed strange behaviors. Giant boars, wolves that don't shy away from human presence, and inexplicable sounds coming from empty buildings at dawn. Surviving here isn't just a matter of avoiding zombies, it's surviving the environment itself. But if you are able to conquer fear, Pripyat turns into a perfect fortress, invisible to the eyes of most. While an ordinary city is full of noise, predictable movements, people running everywhere, here, silence is your main defense. The sound of a door opening can be heard from blocks away. A single misstep can be detected, and that gives you an advantage. In Pripyat, you don't survive by fighting. Survive by camouflaging yourself. And if that already gave you chills, wait until you see the next place. An abandoned island that seems tailor-made to withstand the apocalypse. Hashima Island, Japan. Our second perfect hideout is surrounded by water and surrounded by legends. Hashima Island in Japan, also known as Battleship Island, is one of the most inaccessible and frightening places on the planet. Abandoned since the 1970s, this concrete island, once home to intense coal mining, is now a jumble of ghostly buildings, empty corridors and structures collapsed by time. The most curious thing? It looks like a prison, but for the zombies, not for you. The island's geography is a true gift for any survivor. Entirely surrounded by sea, with a single entry point controllable by boat, Hashima almost completely eliminates the risk of a land approach. In a zombie apocalypse scenario, this means that no infected person will get there running through the streets, only those who can cross deep, choppy waters. And let's be honest, zombies can't swim. The reinforced structure of the buildings, built in dense concrete, resists storms, invasions, and even the weather. But what really gives the island a dark tone is its history. They say that during the mine's years of operation, workers were forced to live in subhuman conditions, and many died in deep, poorly ventilated tunnels. Some areas of the island still have access to basements and underground corridors, perfect for hiding places. Others believe the island is haunted, which only further scares away any curious explorers. While in big cities like New York or Tokyo zombies walk on asphalt, here you can walk on damp, mossy concrete without seeing a living or dead soul for weeks. It's the kind of place that combines total isolation with useful infrastructure, an ideal hiding place for those who understand that, in the apocalypse, the biggest enemy is not just the zombie, it is the desperate human being. But if one isolated island still seems unsafe, the next place is so. Inhospitable and hidden, you've probably never heard of it. Get ready to discover an entire city buried under fire. Centralia, Pennsylvania, United States. The third location on our list is simply unique. We're talking about Centralia in the United States, a city that literally burns underground. Located in Pennsylvania, Centralia was almost completely evacuated after an underground fire, which started in 1962, spread through a former coal mine. And the scariest thing, that fire is still burning to this day, releasing toxic smoke from cracks in the ground. The setting is so surreal that it served as inspiration for the game and film Silent Hill. But anyone who thinks this makes the place uninhabitable is mistaken. In the zombie apocalypse, Centralia could be the ideal hiding place. With only a few houses still standing and streets partially destroyed, the city has become a ghost spot on the map. Entrances are restricted, and temperatures in certain areas of the ground are too high even to walk. But that's the point. Zombies can't walk there either. If you can find a safe structure away from the main fissures, you will have a shelter where the underground heat and toxic gases create a natural barrier against any invader, living or dead. Furthermore, the constant dense fog caused by the heat of the ground makes visibility low, which may seem like a problem, but it is actually an advantage. You can see better than the zombies and move with caution. Most people avoid Centralia because of the environmental hazards, which means you're unlikely to be followed there. What's more, the sounds muffled by heat, smoke, and cracked earth guarantee a kind of natural acoustic insulation. While most run for the mountains or seek out obvious places, you could be in an underground refuge surrounded by fire and smoke, where no zombie would dare enter. And if that sounds insane to you, wait until you discover the next location, a secret, forgotten metro station in the heart of Paris. Saint-Martin, Paris, France. The fourth location on our list is a time capsule hidden beneath one of the most famous cities in the world. The abandoned Saint-Martin metro station in Paris, France, was closed to the public in 1939 at the start of World War II and never returned to operation. Since then, it has remained locked, isolated, and forgotten by almost everyone, except the most attentive. In a zombie apocalypse, this station could become a real underground bunker. Saint-Martin still maintains much of its structure intact. Wide platforms, connected tunnels, several emergency exits, and even closed spaces that were used for storage during the war. And the most interesting thing, it is outside the main public transport network, which makes it even more difficult to access for anyone just exploring the Parisian underground. In other words, perfect for hiding. You can use the depth of the station to stay out of reach of zombies who have difficulty orienting themselves in dark, closed environments, and at the same time, have access to strategic escape tunnels if you need to escape. Furthermore, the season offers an emotional advantage. The gloomy weather, the heavy silence, and the total absence of external visual stimuli help keep the mind alert, focused, and this is essential for survival. Old stories say that the station was used as a shelter by Jewish families during the Nazi occupation, and that several hidden symbols still remain on the walls. A place marked by the fight for survival, and now it can be your field of resistance. While thousands go searching for shopping malls, gas stations, and schools, you can be under the city, camouflaged by darkness. But if the Paris underground seems safe, the next location takes isolation to a new level, an entire city built in the middle of a desert, which has already survived abandonment and war. Al-Ula, Saudi Arabia. Al-Ula in Saudi Arabia is the fifth location on our list, and perhaps the most inaccessible of all. It is an ancient city built in the middle of the desert, between gigantic rock formations, which was once inhabited by ancient people and abandoned for centuries. Today, part of Al-Ula is preserved as a historical heritage site, but there are vast areas that are completely forgotten, where time seems to have stopped. And in a scenario of global collapse, these ruins would be a true fortress against zombies, The structure of the houses, excavated directly into the rocks, or built with hardened clay, offers natural protection against invasions. Furthermore, the surrounding desert acts as a filter. The extreme heat during the day, the biting cold at night, the scarcity of water, and the total visibility of the horizon prevent silent approaches. You see who comes from afar, and you can disappear among the stone formations before they reach you. But the most fascinating thing about Al-Ula is its natural labyrinth. Among the ruins are narrow tunnels, secret passages, interconnected caves, and even ancient walls that can be easily reinforced. It's the kind of place that mixes history with survival, where every stone can serve as protection and every shadow as a hiding place. While others try to defend themselves in urban environments or crowded forests, here the desert is your ally. And make no mistake, zombies cannot resist the dry heat and difficulty in moving around rocks and sand for long. Al-Ula is for the strong, for the silent ones, for the invisible. If you thought the idea of living in ancient ruins in the desert was incredible, the next location will put you inside a ship that never set sail again. Canary Islands, Spain. Our sixth abandoned location is simply a floating fortress forgotten by time. We are talking about the ship SS America, also known as the ghost ship of Fuerteventura, stranded in the Canary Islands, Spain. A gigantic vessel, built to cross oceans, which today rests broken on the coast of a desert island. And even partially submerged, this ship represents an ideal shelter at the beginning of a zombie apocalypse, especially for those who understand that isolation is everything. The SS America was once a luxury vessel, with cabins, extensive corridors, technical compartments, and cargo areas that today serve as possible safe zones. Access is limited, surrounded by water on all sides, and the metal interior still offers protection against bad weather, attacks, and invasions. With narrow, compartmentalized entrances, it is possible to easily close off entire corridors, creating barriers against any type of threat. The most curious thing about the ship is the atmosphere it carries. Decadent, silent, with furniture corroded by seawater, and a silence that echoes through the empty corridors. Many say that there are strange sounds at night, and that visitors who have dared to explore have felt a heavy presence, as if the ship itself held vivid memories of the past. But this, instead, of pushing you away, should attract the strategic survivor. After all, the scarier it is, the less chance there is of someone following you there. And there is another advantage: the ocean around. It is a source of food, water, with the right equipment, desalinated, and works as a natural radar. Any noise, any approach will be heard before it reaches you. As cities and towns are taken over by chaos, you would be on a ghost ship where time has stopped, and zombies will never learn to swim. But if the idea of living surrounded by the sea gives you claustrophobia, the next location brings a much more vast environment, full of fresh air, but with a past as dark as necessary to keep the dead away. An abandoned asylum in the middle of the forest, Massachusetts, USA. The seventh location on the list is simply chilling. Danvers State Hospital, located in Massachusetts, USA, is a former psychiatric hospital that was abandoned in the mid-20th century and is often cited among the scariest places in America. But behind the horror movie atmosphere, there is a strategic truth. Danvers is a perfect structure for those who want to survive hidden from zombies and humans. The hospital was built on top of a hill, far from the urban center, with Gothic architecture reminiscent of European castles. Its thick walls, tall windows, and long, narrow corridors facilitate surveillance and access control. The surrounding vegetation took over the path, making it difficult for any threat to arrive without being noticed. And inside, even in ruins, the building maintains large rooms, storage areas, and access to the basement, ideal for storing supplies and escape routes. The most curious and sinister detail is that Danvers was, according to historical records, the place where brutal treatment techniques were applied to psychiatric patients. Many say there are hidden chambers, locked rooms, and old documents scattered throughout the corridors. Whether this is true or not doesn't matter, when what you need is isolation, silence, and walls that protect you from the dead. While many would flee such a place out of fear or superstition, the true survivor understands that what keeps people away also keeps zombies away. Danvers is cold, dark, and intimidating, exactly what your shelter at the end of the world should be like. But if you want even more seclusion, The next location is so inaccessible that it can only be reached by a secret trail hidden in a mountain range. Poveglia, Italy. The 8th location is pure natural isolation. Poveglia, a small island in Italy between Venice and Lido, is considered one of the most haunted places in the world. But behind its sinister reputation, a strategic secret hides. This island is practically impenetrable, shrouded in legends that keep it forgotten, and that in the zombie apocalypse could be exactly what you need. Poveglia was once used as a place of quarantine for victims of the bubonic plague, as a psychiatric hospital, and later as a shelter for the terminally ill. In other words, it has always been a place of suffering, death, and abandonment. Today, it is completely uninhabited, with ruined buildings, dense vegetation, and stone walls that have stood for centuries. The only way to get there is by boat, and few dare to get close. The island's structure is ideal for a hideout. There are watchtowers, an old hospital, chapel, confinement areas, and underground tunnels. Even without electricity, the place has everything a shelter needs: entry control, full visibility of the surroundings, and complete isolation from the mainland. And the most powerful, an ancestral fear that drives away even the most daring. This means that neither curious people, nor looters, nor hostile groups would risk exploring Poveglia. As entire cities collapse trying to hold back the hordes, you may be hiding in one of the most forgotten and avoided places on the planet. And if the supernatural is real, maybe he's on your side. Now, if you want something more urban but still secluded, the next location is hidden underground in a busy city. Invisible, safe, and soundproof. City Hall, New York City. The 9th spot on our list is so secret that most people don't even know it exists. This is the abandoned City Hall station on the New York subway. Built at the beginning of the 20th century, the station was deactivated in 1945 and today can only be accessed via a specific and rare route. But this underground jewel, surrounded by concrete and silence, could be the perfect hiding place in a setting where the surface has been overrun by the dead. The station's design is unique: stone arches, reinforced structure, a hidden main entrance, and side passages that connect to other tunnels. It is below subway line 6, so even if zombies invade the transport system, they will hardly get there. It is a curve off the main route. This particularity makes it a natural shelter, where the enemy's movement can be monitored, with enough time to react. Furthermore, as it is in the heart of a metropolis, the station offers access to other structures, maintenance tunnels, manholes, technical galleries, that function as escape corridors or entrances to fetch supplies without leaving the surface. The acoustics of the place also help. Any sound echoes strongly, allowing you to detect approaches before they happen. While the streets of New York become a sea of dead, you may be hiding beneath their feet, in the dark, in the silence, and in the upper hand. But if all this still seems little, the 10th and final location on our list takes the concept of security to the maximum level. A place where technology, isolation, and brutality come together. An abandoned prison in the middle of nowhere. Flores Island, Uruguay. The last location on this list is simply brutal. The Isla de Flores prison in Uruguay, located on a remote island, was built to keep the country's worst criminals away from society. It was also used to keep immigrants arriving from other parts of the world in quarantine. Its location, isolated by water on all sides, turns the place into a natural zombie fortress. With reinforced cells, elevated surveillance areas, industrial kitchens, warehouses, and control towers, Isla de Flores was made to keep people in. But in the apocalypse, it serves to keep the dead out. Narrow corridors allow access control, armored doors guarantee response time, and external visibility prevents surprise attacks. And since the island has no land access, only via boat, you can literally cut off any unwanted approaches with a simple paddle. The stories surrounding the place only increase its effectiveness. Many say that during the military dictatorship, political prisoners were taken there and never returned. There are rumors of secret tunnels, underground areas, and sealed rooms. If true, these spaces would be perfect for hiding, stocking up on supplies, or even sheltering other survivors. While the desperate try to improvise defenses with furniture and barricades, you may be behind walls designed to resist escape. Only now, it's you who needs to stay inside and keep the dead out. And now I want to know, which of these locations would you choose to survive the zombie apocalypse? Comment below. My shelter would be silence if you understood that at the end of the world, sounds attract death, and silence saves. These abandoned places are not just ruins forgotten by time. They could be the last hope for those who truly intend to survive when the zombie apocalypse begins. In a world taken by chaos, with collapsed cities, infested streets and panicked crowds, salvation may be precisely where no one else wants to go, in isolation, in silence, in what most people avoid out of fear. But it is in these places that you find the best natural defenses, fewer human threats, and the possibility of resistance. After all, while others run to looted supermarkets or destroyed shopping malls, the true survivors disappear in places forgotten by the world and invisible to the eyes of the dead. That is appearing on the screen. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're one of the few who are actually preparing to survive when the world collapses. So subscribe to the channel right now, because every week there is new content with strategies, secret locations, and real plans to survive a zombie apocalypse. And if you watched until the end, leave a like so this video can reach other future survivors like you. Now click on the next one that is already appearing on your screen. Let's stay alive together.